Dear students, this is the second part of the chapter Díscovering Tut. The saga continues. In the first part, I told you that Tut was buried with things of daily use like a razor made of bronze, games, linen undergarments, and boxes of food and wine, which he could use in the next life. Next passage, next paragraph. First vocabulary. Funerary treasure means the valuable things with which the king was buried. Three-nested coffin. Three coffins placed one in another in order of decreasing size. The innermost coffin houses the body of the deceased. Deceased, dead. Shroud, a length of cloth in which a dead body is, or dead person is wrapped. It is the covering of the dead body. Adorned, decorated. Garlands of willow. A wreath of flowers and leaves. Mummy. Mummy means a body of human being or animal that has been ceremonially preserved by removal of the internal organs, treatment with natron and resin, and wrapping in bandages. Ritual. In this chapter, ritual means here the resins used in the ceremony of mummification. Resins, a sticky, flammable substance that is insoluble in water. Legitimate means reasonable. Explanation of the paragraph. Carter took a few months to record the treasures found in Tut's grave. Then he began investigating his three coffins, which were nested one in another. In the first coffin, he found a piece of cloth with garlands of willow, olive leaves, wild celery, lotus petals, and cauliflower, which suggested that he had been buried in the months of March or April. These plants, flowers, because they grow in the month of March or April, and since these things were kept with the dead body of Tut, it is evident that he would have died in the month of March or April. When he reached the third coffin, he was in trouble. I told you about the three-nested coffin. The body had hardened due to the resins, which had cemented the body in, and it had stuck to the bottom of the coffin, which was made of gold. Means the body of Tut was stuck to the coffin because of the resins. Resins is a sticking liquid, the liquid with which the body was stuck there, and it had hardened, it was cemented. So Carter wondered what to do next, because no amount of force could separate the two. Means it could not be separated with the reasonable force. With the normal force, it could not be taken out from the coffin. It was struck so hard with the base of the coffin. Next passage. Vocabulary. Blazing means very hot. Buzzed, moved or shifted, a slight movement. Then chiseled away. Chiseled away means to cut something with a chisel. Chisel is a cutting equipment. So Carter tried to loosen the resins by keeping the body in the hot sun. He thought that the heat of sun could do something. He kept the mummy in 149 degrees Fahrenheit heat for several hours, but still it remained stuck. He reported that a chisel could be used to cut down the mummy from the limbs and the trunk so that Tut's body could be taken out of the coffin. Means he decided to cut the limbs and take out the body from the coffin. Next passage, first vocabulary. Circumvented is a word used here. Find a way around, or thieves would have found a way to tackle the guards and remove the gold from the tomb. What does it mean? Circumvented means actually stealing or theft secretly. Inlaid, a decorative pattern on a surface. Inlaid. Amulet, actually it is an ornament or a small piece of jewelry thought to give protection against evil, danger or disease. Apron, a protective garment worn over the front of one's clothes and tied at the back. Seats, a close-fitting cover. Seats. Iconic, something or someone who is a symbol or it represents some other thing. Adornments, ornaments. Concealed, hid. According to Carter, he had no choice other than to cut the mummy. He believed that if he had not done that, thieves would have removed the gold from the tomb and would have looted it. During Tut's time, the royal people were very wealthy and they had a belief that after death they could take the wealth along with them. For his life after death, he was given precious collars, necklaces and decorative patterns, bracelets, rings, amulets, ceremonial aprons, sandals, seats for fingers and toes, and now an iconic inner coffin and a mask. His men removed his head and every joint of his body. After they finished, they reassembled the remains in a wooden box with padding filled with a layer of sand to conceal the damage. It was his new resting place. Next passage. First vocabulary. Intervening means occur in the time between events. When something happens in between two events, or occur in the time between events. Intriguing, to arouse one's curiosity. Intriguing, startling, unexpected or surprising. So in the past few decades, archaeology had changed as it now focuses on the details of life and the mysteries of death. Earlier it was about focusing on the treasure. Now it uses more advanced medical technologies and tools for research. In 1968, an anatomy professor x-rayed King Tut's mummy and revealed that the front limbs and breastbone were missing. Next passage. Computer tomography, also called a CT scan. It is a three-dimensional scan of body with the help of hundreds of x-rays in cross-section together. Demise, death. Death rattle, the gurgling sound produced in the throat of a person who is about to die. Aftermath, after effects of an unpleasant event. Now, with the advancement of technology, CT scan or computer tomography can give a virtual image of the whole body. With the help of this technology, King Tut's body would be scanned to find answers to two questions: how he died and how old was he at the time of his death. His death was a shock to the royals also, as he was the last person of his family, and his funeral indicated the diminishment of his dynasty. However, what happened after his death is still not clear. Now turning to the history of his family from his grandfather up to him. Amenhotep III, first vocabulary, wacky. Wacky means amusing in slightly odd way or whimsical. So Tut's father or grandfather, Amenhotep III, was a very powerful pharaoh who ruled over a period of 40 years. His son Amenhotep IV succeeded him and began the strangest period in the history of Egypt. He promoted the worship of Aten, the sun disk, sun god. He changed his name to Akhenaten, meaning servant of Athens. He also shifted the religious capital from Thebes to the new city of Akhenaten called Amarna. Further, he attacked Amun, a god, smashed his images and closed his temples. Ray Johnson, director of the University of Chicago, said it must have been a bad time for the empire as the family who ruled for centuries came to an end and Akhenaten moved in an odd direction. Then another mysterious ruler, Menkaure, succeeded him and died soon. Next, Tutankhamun, also known as Tut, sat on the throne and ruled for 9 years. He was the last heir of this powerful family of rulers. He worshipped God Amun in the old ways, means he reverted himself to the traditional ways. He started worshipping God Amun. However, he died mysteriously. Tut is one of the mummies in Egypt. Whereas until now, with the help of the Egyptian Mummy Project, which started in 2003, almost 600 mummies have been recorded so far. King Tut's mummy was the first one to be scanned by CT. Under the next phase of scanning, the mummies with the machine donated by the National Geographic Society and Siemens. Now coming to vocabulary for the next passage. Eerie detail, strange image of Tut's head as visible with the help of CT scan. Strange image, eerie detail, strange image. Forensics, the application of scientific method to investigate a crime. Forensics, scientific method to investigate a crime. Anatomy, the branch of science which deals with the body structure of humans, animals, or other living beings. Burial, burying the dead. Shrine, holy place. The CT scan machine scanned the body by creating 1700 digital X-rays in cross sections. Tut's head was scanned in 0.62 millimeter slices to record the tiny details. The resulting image was very strange. A team of radiology, forensics, and anatomy experts started examining the secrets of the grave that had been protected by flying goddesses for a long time. Next passage, vocabulary, pallbearers, a person who helps to escort a coffin at a funeral, swirling to spin or twist. Hydraulic lift, a lift that uses a machine to lift or move heavy objects with a pressure. Sprinted, ran with a high speed. So during the night, workmen climbed up on the ramp and the flight of stairs to carry the body from the tomb into the spinning sand outside. They rose the body into a hydraulic lift, then into a trailer where the scanner was kept. After 20 minutes, two men ran towards the office nearby to bring two fans. The scanner was not working as the sand had entered a cooler fan. The guard joked that it was because of the curse of the pharaoh, because they had removed his body. The Egyptian rulers were called pharaohs. They were equal to the god. Once the fans worked, the procedure was finished. The data was checked in case of any losses, and then technicians returned the body to the pallbearers, who carried him back to his tomb. In less than 3 hours, he was resting at the same place where the priest had laid him many years ago. Then vocabulary for the next passage. Stood Orion, the constellation that the ancient Egyptian knew as the soul of Osiris, the god of the afterlife. Osiris is considered to be the god of afterlife, watching over the boy king. Astonishing, amazing, surprising, pixels. A pixel is a single point in a graphic image. Spun, to turn around. Vertebrate, series of small bones which form a backbone. Vertebrae, series of small bones which form a backbone. In the trailer, the technician showed a beautiful image of Tut on a computer screen. He showed the grey head, which was scattered in pixels, and he spun it around. Next, the vertebrae, hand, rib cage, and transection of skull was shown. As the work was done, the pressure was finally off from the shoulders of Jehoahaz. While sitting in a chair, he smiled and said that he was relieved, that nothing went wrong. He had not slept the previous night, and now, as the work was done, he would go and sleep. By the time they left the trailer,